these were great characters
yeah.
that were very dark and very twisted, and they had their own schemes. Even what's his face's mom?
Paul's mom, Jessica.
Yeah, Paul's mom. Yeah,
Lady Jessica.
Yeah,
played by the lovely Rebecca Ferguson.
Yeah, bit all right. She
bit
is
all right, man.
Bit all right.
Bit all right, man. Yeah.
Even with the tattoos on her
yeah,
face.
man. Even when she was like in the tent, ruffled, like in the desert for weeks, I was like, still good, man. Still good.
No complaints.
Yeah, none at all. This is Geek Off The Street, your go-to channel for all things from obscure geekdom to modern-day pop culture and everything else in between. What's up, everybody?
Hello. Here we go.
We're back.
Again.
As we promised.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we promised and we delivered.
Good on us.
The most reliable people that
in your lives.
In your lives, yeah. Yeah, because my name's Trent.
And my name is Marc.
And this is Geek Off The Street. Greatest podcast of all time. Talk about geek culture, pop culture, whatever else we want. Deal with it. This week's no exception as we get into the brand new...
Yes, based on the 1965 Frank Herbert book.
Dune. Part 2.
Yes,
sequel to the
2.
First movie a couple of years ago.
Yeah, from 2021.
Yes. Still directed by Denis Villeneuve.
Yes.
Written by him and somebody else, I think.
Yeah, there are some other co-authors for the screen.
Yes.
Play.
Yeah.
Like, where am I going with this?
Yeah, I got you. But yeah, so the movie just came out like literally yesterday as of this recording. Yeah. And we're right on its heels.
Yeah, man.
As we are.
Curious how it's going to do overall.
Yeah. Same. We're going to get into that as soon as we talk to you guys about what we're drinking this week. Mm-hmm. That is I found this online somewhere. I'll maybe link it if I can, if I remember where it's at.
Yeah.
This is the Dunes Desert Oasis. Yeah, it's kind of a long name.
Someone's trying too hard.
Yeah. But it is a good. It's a good drink. It's got a little muddled mint leaves with some tequila,
some
agave,
prickly pear
soda
on
and some lime juice.
Juice.
Pretty good, actually.
Tequila and lime juice. If you're doing anything with tequila, you better have some sort of lime and or lemon.
Yeah, it's great. And it's got a good like fruity flavor, but got the tequila in there as well.
And the soda gives that nice little effervescence.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I'm gonna leave on top. Good night, everybody.
We're done leaving on top. But yeah, so that's what we're drinking this week. If you want to mix it at home, it's great. It's a pretty good drink.
Yeah.
But yeah, a couple of shout outs. We have the contest is still going on. As of this recording, the first round will be over. Somebody has won, but I can't announce it right now.
Right. Eat your heart out.
Because I still haven't added up all the points yet. But
we will.
It's going to come up. And somebody's finally won the first round. And
we're going to get so much good stuff.
Yeah, some cool stuff. So thank you guys for playing along. But that's not the last one. We still have 4 more times we're going to do this competition.
You're not out of it yet, kids.
So you have 4 more chances to win a copy of this book. And some exclusive Geek Off The Street merch. So there's that. A couple of other podcasts to shout out to that followed us this week. It was Once Upon a Band Geek Pod. She's does a music podcast, and she was like a band geek, became a professional musician eventually, and now she has a podcast about it. She followed us. Thanks for following us.
Thank you.
It's really cool. I haven't had a chance to check out the pod yet, but it seems like it's going to be a cool concept. And then shout out to that was it for the podcast. But there's one more shout out I had that I forgot to mention last week. And
while you're looking at that, there's one that I want to give a shout out to from last week. I met a guy that was coming over. He was in the studio area, kind of doing some repair work kind of thing, checking things out. Saw the studio, was blown away. Naturally, as you should
look how great this studio is, man.
Exactly. It's like, what is this? So this is Shangri-La, my friend. Dan, good on you, sir. Thank you for recognizing quality. He gave us some great recommendations for anime to watch.
Oh, sweet.
Some of those match up with the ones that CJ has recommended to us. So that's got
so you already know this guy.
Double endorsement. He knows his stuff. So Dan, thanks. He's gonna listen, check out the show. We always appreciate it. Thank you, my brother.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we can get you on the show. We can talk about some anime
awesome.
or whatever else.
You already know where the studio's at. So that's half the battle.
You know right where it is.
Yeah.
And how dangerous it is to get up here. So
yeah. Getting up and getting down, man. This is a pretty
It's a ninja warrior.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, there's shout out to Alan Davis, one of my old buddies from high school. He's been like commenting on everything we've been saying.
Nice.
Yeah, not necessarily good things. He likes to argue like I do.
Oh, nice. Hey, man. I appreciate
but he's been responding to everything. And then obviously shout out to Wilbur McKesson, the author of the book that we're giving away. But he's been sharing every single reel we do, every single short that we do. He's been responding to everything, really trying to push our podcast because I had not complained, but mentioned that we're struggling with some of the growth aspects of the show.
Okay.
And he's been like really trying to like help out with that. So
that's cool.
Thanks, Will. Appreciate it. And then I wanted to shout out to Cryptid Tactical on YouTube. I meant to mention this a couple weeks ago because that's when he said this, but he basically said that he's like, I feel lucky that I found you guys. And you're only at 277 subscribers. When I looked, I was expecting 50,000.
I saw that.
I was like, yeah. So I was like, dude, that's like super nice. A very nice thing to say. Like, not to say that, we've been around for a little while now. But, the studio is relatively new in comparison. But we've been putting a lot of work into it. And I think I feel like we have a good show and a good set and a good, I think overall we have a pretty solid thing. And, not that I'm looking for validation, but it was really very cool for him to say that and recognize that
appreciate
we are putting in.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, we're trying to put together some high production value here, and so it was really very well appreciated. So, man, so thank you, man, appreciate it. And I think he has a channel. It's called Cryptid Tactical. Check him out on YouTube.
Okay, cool.
He has some content up there, so
nice.
Yeah, follow him as well.
Yeah, we can all help each other, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Yeah. And then one more shout out to he's a comedian. That he recently shared one of our reels on his story. He seems like a nice dude. He's pretty funny. Dave
Chappelle.
No, not exactly. Maybe someday though. But he, what's his name? Marcellus Samuel. But his stage name is Lycan Nerd.
Okay.
So he does a lot of stand-up stuff at conventions. So
nice.
Yeah,
nice,
so he's kind of he's a geek specific stand up for some of his stuff. But
that's great.
Seems like a funny dude. Yeah,
go there, play to the crowd.
Exactly. Yeah, he seems like a pretty funny dude, and I think he's local because he was at Comic-Con Revolution.
Okay.
I think he was at Riverside as well.
Man, I hope he plays at Ontario Mills.
Yeah.
Or the not Mills, but what is it? The Laugh? It's not the Laugh Factory. They have a comic. Is Laugh Factory over there? Yeah. That'd be awesome if you could go.
That'd be pretty sweet. Yeah. So I told him if anything we can do to help him out, or if we want to get him on the show, he said he'd love to be on the show sometime. So yeah, get some extra humor on there. Not that we're not funny.
Yeah.
I think it'd be good to have a
professional
comedian on here. So
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, super nice guy, dude. Like a nerd, man. Thank you, dude. As always, man. I appreciate the help, the shout out, the sharing, all that kind of stuff. We gotta support each other, all the small time creators, because it is tough out there.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
All right, let's get into the show, huh?
Helping. Let's get into.
We are talking about Dune again. This is Dune Part 2. If you guys didn't get a chance to watch the first movie or read the novel, the first movie is amazing. I just finished the novel, the audiobook, almost on my way to the movie theater.
Nice.
I was listening to the last chapter, and I got through before the movie for Part 2.
Yeah.
The novel is amazing. Obviously, it's critically acclaimed. One of the first sci-fi novels to win one of the big awards.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot what it was, but I was reading about that, and it's a classic. It's a classic novel, and the series continued. I think there were 4 or 5 more that he did before he passed, and his son continued the novels.
Right.
But if you haven't seen the show, the movie, or read the books, it's a very rich world. Essentially about a power struggle over this planet that has the most valuable resource, a natural valuable resource, in the whole universe. And that this is. Essentially, it's a power struggle over that.
Yeah,
and that's the whole deal.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is it's not the story doesn't end here. The story goes on. You're saying that there's multiple books. The story continues, and again, like you said, his son kind of picked up on some of that too. And obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but obviously and respectfully, the later books, the ones that Frank Herbert did himself, those are the the real masterpieces. But yeah, the story it goes off into the future. It deals with it's there's more to it.
Yeah.
Than what we see in these 2 movies, or maybe these first 2 movies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I think even by the 5th book, it's been like thousands of years since Paul Atreides was alive.
Yeah.
And in this book and in the first 2 movies, we're dealing with him around 15. Yeah, he starts out around 15. I think he's a little bit older by this next movie.
Yeah.
I mean, in the book,
he is. You're right.
Not sure if he's grown much in the movies, but we're dealing with him around that age as he's kind of coming to age and becoming this Messiah, essentially.
So hopefully you've seen the first movie.
Yeah.
By the first movie, I mean technically the first movie that came out a few years ago, 2021. There was one that came out in the 80s. Which
a little hard to watch now.
It's a little hard to watch unless you're just looking at it through a very nostalgic lens, kind of thing, or you're looking at it where these guys were really swinging for the fences, but they were like they had like little league equipment and they were little league players. So it's like, I mean, it's cute that you were trying so hard to do it.
Yeah,
but I'm sure a lot of Dune fans and that original 80s movie, and we talked about this in our Dune episode. A lot of the fans either just hate it or they love it, kind of thing. So it's interesting. But the one that came out in 2021 is fantastic. I know, again, in the show, we talked about watching that on the big screen. We had a guest on the show, Vince, fortunately knew so much about this world, and he's got that knowledge that you only had from reading the books, and then
multiple
probably
times.
like rereading them and just absorbing it all and doing like the research and the homework. And, where it's just like background knowledge for you.
Unfortunately, that was Vince. We tried to get him on the show for this one. Couldn't make it happen. Hopefully, we can do a follow up with him or something.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Just get him on and talk, because we can have a separate episode where we just talk about Dune itself. Vince, sorry, man. I meant to get it with you earlier, but we just couldn't make it happen. But hopefully next time, though.
Right, Dune's a great book. Vince, I love you. Trent messed up. Don't blame me. We're still good.
I'll take the blame for that one. That's fair.
I got some other stuff I can blame on you too. So. I showed up late to work.
This guy's fault.
This guy's fault.
Yeah, but anyway, check out our first Dune episode, which was a couple of years ago. That was a great episode. That was one of our first couple of guests that we've had. He was one of them, and that was a great discussion. So now we're that was the other thing, is that the movie came out on streaming because it was during COVID, like right in the middle of COVID, and so it couldn't get premiered in movies. So really, it was on Max immediately, and we were able to watch it right away. So if you guys didn't see it back then, man,
I'm trying to think if I saw that in the theater though. Because weren't we talking about, like, didn't you say, like, I should have seen this in the theater?
No, I was talking because I watched it, like, on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, I should have watched it on a TV.
On a bigger screen. TV. Okay.
But, I mean, it might have been...
Yeah, for some reason. Because it was 2021.
Okay.
Maybe things were just starting to open up again. Yeah, but that's not important, though.
Yeah.
The point that we're trying to make is this is something you probably want to go to the theater to see.
This is the one, because there's... visually stunning, first of all. But let's just get right into positive.
Let's get right into it.
And that's my first positive. Like visually, this movie is a masterpiece. The first one as well. Like both of these movies visually, I think, are incredible. The cinematography, like I think Denis Villeneuve's, like his wide shots are just beautiful. And like the interesting thing is that his wide shots, it's like a wide shot, but it's like CGI. A lot of it's CGI because like they had to create this world.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can't really tell. Like it's so well composed that it looks like a real desert or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the desert. Yeah, the landscaping looked real. All the time.
It was it was so good. And like even like the battle sequences with the ships flying around in the background.
Yeah,
all that kind of stuff. And the thing that was cool about it too is that like it was all shot digitally, obviously, because we're in the modern age now. Yeah. But it kind of had a worn film look to it. Like it wasn't too sharp. The ships weren't too perfect. Everything wasn't too like crisp. And so it kind of felt more like maybe it was shot on film. So it lended to that style, that aesthetic, I think, the visual aesthetic. And I think it looked great, man. This movie visually was stunning. Like I don't think I've seen anything like this
in a long time,
if not ever. You know, like this is like Denis Villeneuve is really known for his shots, cinematography, his composition. He's very talented at that. Have you seen like his the one I remember the most was his Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, 2049.
That makes sense. Yeah, and that's where I really noticed how beautiful his movies were. So yeah, he's a fantastic director.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's probably the first thing I was going to say. Just the scale of the movie is it feels like an epic movie, and like we were saying, we haven't really had like an epic movie in a long time. I think maybe the last thing I can think of that I might compare it to, not necessarily visually, but maybe just for the epic status, would be like Lord of the Rings when those movies came out.
Oh, exactly. Yeah,
those were they were basically kind of revolutionary in a sense. So that's what this movie is. This really is. And I don't think it's trying to be like a throwback to like movies from back in the day, classic movies where when you go to the movie theater and to see something and it's an event.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of what this is. This is, we're kind of witnessing, for lack of a better way to put it, we're kind of witnessing history, or we're witnessing something very cool within the movie genre. You know what I mean? Because something we haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah,
so.
I think this is what like. What's great about this movie is that it made me excited to go to the movies again, or this one. And I didn't see the first one in theaters, but like this is one of those where I was like, this feels like a movie event.
Right,
like this feels like a thing, a thing you have to do in theaters. And I felt that way.
To appreciate it.
And I went on like Thursday, so like preview night basically.
Nice.
And I went like at it's like 5 o'clock. I think my show was at 5 o'clock. I was the only one in the theater.
Ooh.
It was like it was a smaller theater.
Yeah.
But I went in. I walked in. I went in. I got my foot long hot dog. Loaded it with all the everything, bacon and all the cheese and everything on it. I got everything on it. Got some fries. Got a soda. I went in. Nobody else was in there. Wow. Previews were still going. I basically picked wherever I wanted to sit after that.
Yeah.
Sat down, had my food, was watching the movies, doing like having a good time. I was it was blissful, dude. I was just like this. If life doesn't get better than this, I'm okay. Like this is great. I'm having great do my favorite thing, watching movies and eating, and just it was that helped also.
Yeah.
But like it just was a cinematic experience, and I think it really reminded me of why I love movies and why I love going to the movies. And Dune did that, for sure. Right. Yeah.
Let's see some other likes. I don't know if this is weird, but one thing that I did like was that this movie picks up like immediately where the first one ends.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how other people might feel about it, but I loved it that, like, you know what I mean? That there wasn't some sort of time skip, or that you know what I mean? That there was something might have happened in between that we didn't get to see.
Yeah.
I love that it jumped like literally like
where we left off.
It's like they were taking like 1 or 2 steps at the end of the second one. By the time that this one picks up, they're on steps like 4 and 5. So we didn't miss anything. So I love that we're still in it. The characters are very interesting. They're especially I know I'm gonna say it wrong. I want to say like the Bene Gesserits?
Bene Gesserit?
Jesuits. Yeah, I know Jesuits not right. That's like a whole
Jesuits.
Yeah. I kept getting it mixed up in my head. I was like, I know they're not Jesuits, but the Jesuits. Yeah, those characters are so interesting. And the fact that like something that like that Reverend Mother says in the first movie, like when she says like we plan in centuries, you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That was such a great line. But you're just thinking it's almost like a throwaway line, right? You're just thinking like they're saying like, oh, we're so badass. That's, we're playing the long game. But they really were playing the long game. Like the whole concept of this, desert messiah that he ends up being, they set that up 1,000 years ago. It's like, you evil, crazy,
and planning all of the bloodlines, making sure the bloodlines stayed pure.
Just doing the whole machinations. And the cool thing too is they had like a failsafe. They had a backup plan. Like if this guy's not the one, we got another guy. We got a spare over here. This guy will be the one. If it's not him, we don't care. We'll do another 300 years.
Yeah, we'll keep trying. Yeah. And even like Paul, I guess wasn't supposed to be technically. He was supposed to be a girl,
to
be married off to the Harkonnens, right?
Yeah,
to preserve that bloodline.
Yeah,
but but then even the other Bene Gesserit that was on the Harkonnen planet that seduced what's his name, Fade Rathra. That was all part of the planning too. Like we need to get his seed and continue this bloodline, but he doesn't need to be a part of the picture or anything really, or even like his dad, Leto Atreides, Paul's dad. Like they're like, they
don't give a damn.
We don't need him
about
anymore.
Them. It's not about the guys either. They're just like, we don't care about them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And here's another thing too that was cool. I mean, that whole thing. I mean, not to change the subject from that because that's like so interesting.
Yeah.
These characters, the real power were the females, and it's not like all females. It's a very specific group of females. Where the real power, behind the scenes kind of thing. And there wasn't anything. And I'm gonna do it briefly. I'm not gonna turn this into a whole, the whole agenda thing.
Oh, right.
But these were great characters that were very dark and very twisted. And they had their own schemes. Even what's his face's mom?
Paul's mom, Jessica.
Yeah, Paul's mom. Yeah,
Lady Jessica.
Yeah,
played by the lovely Rebecca Ferguson.
Yeah. Bit all right,
she is. All right, man.
Bit all right.
Bit all right, man. Yeah.
Even with the tattoos on her face.
Yeah, man. Even when she was like in the tent, ruffled, like in the desert for weeks. I was like, still good, man. So good.
No complaints.
Yeah, none at all.
But I digress.
Yeah.
But they're great characters, and they were powerful characters, and they were they were well thought out characters, which again, it's great to see female characters that are like that aren't just, the mother nurturing, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you had like the Reverend Mother who was completely like, she was just all about business.
Yeah, yeah.
Then you had Jessica, who was, you could kind of say she was the caring mother. She had that aspect to her, but she also had this ruthless, I want to say ruthless, but she had this fighting side to her.
Yeah.
She knew how to fight.
Yeah.
I mean,
awesome.
she could 100% fight. You know what I mean? And then her character gets so,
becomes a bit of a schemer.
Yeah. Yeah. Once she drinks the water.
Yeah.
Man, she like, it got scary. Like what happened with her character. Not, I mean, it wasn't, let me say it wasn't bad. It was fun to see. It was fun to watch how dark she got and how she was coming up with all these machinations about the things that she's got to do to make sure her son gets, where he needs to be. You know what I mean? All this kind of stuff.
Really kind of playing chess.
She was, man. She really took a turn, but it was fun to watch.
Yeah. No, she wasn't quite like that in the book. She kind of always stayed the supportive, like, mother for the most part. She does become the Reverend Mother, and she does change, and it happens with the baby too. But she does not really a schemer like she is in the movie. At first, I was like, I don't know if I like that, but it was fun to see on screen.
Got it.
Yeah. I think it's a soft spot for Rebecca Ferguson. So
I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah, I don't want to see her.
I was gonna say something. I'm gonna leave it alone. But say no. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. But and then the other thing I was gonna say too was what's her name? Shuni? Chani? Yeah, her character, who was very physical, the fighter. And you she had her moments too where she was just being a good girlfriend or whatever they were kind of thing. So you had some very cool female characters that were in here. I mean, it wasn't like a whole, large female cast, but they're the ones that were in here, they represented.
Oh yeah. I didn't feel like anyone was a girl boss in this. Like I didn't earn what they had. Right. Didn't have all the answers.
Or something was just kind of like thrown in or given
just for the hell of it.
Because.
No, everybody was developed.
Right.
Even the Bene Gesserits, man. Like that. I hated and loved the Reverend Mother, man.
Yeah.
She was great.
I loved her in the first
man.
movie. I mean, same thing. Loved and hated. Yeah, she was such a hard ass.
Yeah.
But she was, she was very cool. She knew what she wanted. You know what I mean? And
very direct. And just that was it. Yeah.
And them using the voice. And then when he used the voice on her too.
I do. I love that, man. I love it. And they like, I mean, I'll get like, they changed a little bit in the book. She does yell abomination, but it's his sister. Because the sister is born in the book. Yeah. And she's like a very super smart 2-year-old. Like it's kind of creepy actually.
Right. And she kills
yeah, she does. The
Lord, the Vladimir, the Harkin guy.
I think she does. Yeah, so they changed that a little bit, and I see why it works. It works for the movie definitely. But yeah, she yells abomination at the girl in the book. So he said she does with Paul in this.
Oh, yeah, interesting.
Because the girl does that to the Bene Gesserit, I think. And then, or Leah, the sister.
Wow.
But so this is switched and let him do it. And even that, I was like, dude, that's great. Because she yells out abomination to him.
Okay.
But I was like, when he put her in her place, I was like, I was like,
silence. Like, she falls over.
I loved the voice, man, when they would do that voice thing or whatever that was.
Yeah, I know. I wish they would have done more of it. But I'm glad, you know what I mean? Do it the way you need to do it.
Yeah, sparingly, I guess. Exactly. It does. Kind of less is more, I guess, did work in favor.
Because you would think they'd just be dropping that all the time, kind of thing. But I would imagine it might be one of those things too, where it's almost like, you know what I mean? If you're constantly like casting that spell on people, it's like, hey, keep an eye on her, don't trust her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or even if you do it in a crowd kind of thing, it's going to be like, hey, stop doing, you know what I mean? It's not going to be looked at favorably, I would imagine.
Yeah. You don't trust somebody who can do that, basically. Let's see. Like other, I mean, again, I thought the characters too. I think overall the movie was pretty well acted. Everyone was talented. Everyone performed really well. I think the dialogue was good. I think character development was good for all of them, or most of them at least. I think.
Yeah.
And I think. You know what I really enjoyed about this, and I was thinking that it was going to be a repeat of the first one, because the first one ends with just a straight up hand-to-hand combat with him and that guy. I think his name was Jameis or something. Yeah. At the very end of the first one. And this movie also ends similarly. Yeah. Just hand-to-hand combat with him versus Fade Rotha. But I loved it just as much. Like I loved that. Like I love that the movie crescendos in a fight sequence with no music, just them two going at it. Yeah. And I think like that. The choices to shoot and present it that way, and to use that as the final moment of the movie, I think it felt, I don't know, it felt cool. It was like a cool way to do that. You know what I mean? To bring it all back down after this big old battle, all this stuff happens, and then it's just like comes down to two guys fighting with knives,
trying to kill each other.
Trying to kill each other, and it was great, man. I loved those fight sequences. And then I like that, Gurney came, like he survived, came back and got his redemption, because in the book he comes back, but he doesn't get his redemption. Paul doesn't let him like kill the Harkonnens. Like he's like, no, I'm gonna take care of it. And so it was cool to see Gurney get his get his revenge, get even with Batista. I think his name is Robin, right? Something like that. Robin, Robin. Yeah, so that was cool seeing like some of those characters get their due, and have their stories wrapped up a little bit was nice to see. Even though I think it's gonna go on, I think Denis Villeneuve said he was working on the third one. Okay, it hasn't been officially greenlit yet, but he said he's writing the third one, and that's the last one he wants to do. He doesn't want to do the next ones after that. So I think this is the next one will be the last one where Paul's the main character. Yeah. After that, it becomes about his kids, and then after that, it's like.
Got it. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
further generations. Yeah, right on. So
yeah, and I would, I'm okay with that. I can't imagine. I mean, we don't know, but I can't imagine. Yeah, this movie does end with a bit of a cliffhanger to it, so it does seem like they are setting up another one. It's not so much. Well, I take that back and say it's not so much of a cliffhanger as in the first one. The first one was more so, maybe, but it's 100% still wide open.
Yeah,
and they. Yeah, it's completely obvious that there needs to be
another one,
a third movie.
Yeah, because it ends with them like, oh, we're going to war against all the houses. Yeah. And then Shani decides to go her own way. And that's how it ends. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is not a resolution. Yeah. Like it's not over. Yeah.
Right. And I heard that's also different from the books.
Yeah, very different. Yeah. Very different. Yeah.
Which kind of makes it a little bit of a concern for me. Like, to take, some differences from the book, I understand, like, with Jessica and the pregnancy or whatever, that's okay. I get it. So
because if you see the original 80s one, there was like a child that's super smart and it's kind of creepy and weird.
It is. It is very creepy, very weird.
Yeah.
And and in the book, it's like what, 3 years or so between like when they get taken out to when when they get their revenge. And in this one, it's like less than 9 months because she hasn't given birth yet, kind of thing. So I'm concerned. Well, no, I'm not concerned. I'm curious how it's going to work. Where if you start taking like big liberties, how are you going to? Because you're really taking it into a different tangent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how are you going to bring that back to staying on focus with the book? And
Yeah, that's actually gonna be one of my negatives. I'll get into that with Chinese character. But were there more positives you want to get into before we moved into that?
I will say a positive is this movie, especially this movie. There is a very strange, like religious, like overtone. To it. You know what I mean? Which it's very cool. And I think Frank Herbert, when he wrote it, that was kind of the point of it as well. A lot of people compare it to like Lawrence of Arabia, or you know what I mean. So and basically that was like in World War I. You had this British guy came over to these desert people and was like, hey, work with us and you're going to get all this stuff. I mean, that turned out very differently. They all worked together and then they were like, we're not keeping any of our deals. So it's like, okay, then you wonder why the Middle East hates the West. But that's a whole different show, kids.
That'd be a different podcast.
That's a whole different podcast.
Not even on Geek Off The Street. We had to start a new podcast talking about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Geeks Off the World Map. That's not important. It's not important. But so when it was interesting because you have like Paul's character who is this manufactured, you can't even really call him he is a manufactured Messiah, but for a manufactured faith, which is so interesting.
Yeah.
But I think the whole thing about like blindly following, and then also not just the blindly following, which is what a lot of them were doing, which, that's what you do in religion, I suppose. But, it's almost with Paul, being drunk on his power or whatever. And for a long time, it's not even that he's resisting it. It's like he doesn't want it. So he doesn't even care. But after he drinks the juice and like when he has, I mean, it's a great scene where he comes in, when they're all together and he's like, basically comes in there and says, I'm running shit now.
Yeah.
And they're like, what are you saying? It's like, you heard me. I'm paraphrasing.
But he's like, none of you can take me.
Yeah. And everyone gets up like,
oh, yeah,
you talking to me? They all got offended.
Yeah. But no, I loved that scene. There was a very shift to like, from his being very passive and humble.
Right. And reluctant to take on that role.
To being like very, a little arrogant, a little arrogant.
A
little more.
But I mean, he knew who he was, right? In a sense. And again, I mean, if you look at everything, like I said, if they settled this up 1,000 years ago for this moment and he knows and he's aware of it, then he knows like, I am the shit. I am the guy. And it was cool to see him, own it.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it worked too. Like, and there wasn't like a time where I was like, okay, I'm tired of him. I loved all of that, and even into that when he confronts the emperor and all, I loved all of it. Man. I was like, this is just like, man, rightfully take it, man.
Put them all in their place.
Yeah, exactly.
Put them all in their place.
Yeah, right.
But it was really, it's interesting. It was fun to watch, and I love that. I don't know if you understand the name wrong. Chani, yeah. I love that her character, along with some of her people, were very non-religious. Right?
Yeah.
Like they didn't believe all the Messiah and the prophet hype. And all that kind of stuff. And then even at the end of it, she still feels that same way. She's still like, I'm not backing you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, you're not, her whole thing was, the whole prophecy thing kept our people, it helped keep our people in shackles. It helped keep them down.
Oh, yeah.
waiting for something to come.
Right. Yeah.
When it should have come from us to do it.
Right.
Yeah. Even the magical Messiah, whatever, it should have been, somebody from our people to do it. So once it even gets to the point where Paul's like the chosen one and everyone's agrees he's the chosen one, she's still standing her ground saying like all of this, faith stuff is it's no good. And she walks out on it. And I loved it. I know that's different from the book too, but when everybody's down on their knees, literally bowing to him, she's like the only one other than, Paul and his, future bride.
Oh yeah.
They're the only ones that are not, bowing.
Right. Yeah.
So I love how she felt about quote unquote religion in that world. And she stuck to her grounds, stuck to what she believed in.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was another cool part too in the, somewhere close to the beginning where, Scarrett, it's not Scarrett, but the leader of the northern tribe.
Oh, Skilgar.
Skilgar.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I swear I watched it.
Stilgar.
I mean, I think it was ST. Yeah.
Yeah. Stilgar. Yeah.
That when he when earlier in the movie when Paul says like I'm not the Messiah and he's like, oh, he's so great there. He's so humble.
Yeah, the Messiah would.
The Messiah would say he's not the Messiah. Yeah. It's like, oh, he's like, can you imagine?
Yeah.
He's still, it's that blind.
Yeah, blind faith.
Like I said, it was funny. That might have been like one of the only real funny moments in this thing. It really wasn't a funny movie.
Yeah,
which I'm 100% okay with. I do not need to see comic relief.
There are I'm trying to remember which one. There may be one or two parts where I kind of laughed. I was like, oh, that's a pretty good joke.
Yeah.
But there definitely wasn't like comedy.
Yeah.
A couple of things here and there that were funny.
Yeah, make you smile.
Yeah. Right. And I was in the theater myself, so I could laugh
as
loud as I wanted to. Yeah.
There's I love the way the Harkonnens, their planet looked.
Yeah.
That was the craziest thing, but it looked fantastic.
Yeah.
It was all just black and white.
Yeah.
And not like a black and white TV kind of thing. It's not like black and white and gray.
Yeah.
It was black and white.
Black and white, yeah.
The people were like all just like painted white. Everything in the background was black and dark.
Yeah.
And the sky was like it looked crazy.
Yeah. It was like purposely oversaturated.
Yeah, big time.
Or like overexposed.
Yeah.
And like, even like when you see like the fireworks, I was like, what are those?
Yeah.
Like ink blots? And I was like,
I loved it.
It is fireworks.
I loved it. It was so unique and so different. They weren't like your typical fireworks. So like it was like you said, like this weird ink blot kind of thing happening.
Oh, that's a firework. Shit.
Yeah.
And
then just looking at it, I imagine like what would it be like to be on that world? You know what I mean? Like what would it be like to just be a person who lands on that world or something? And like, man, I do not want to be here. I mean, it's bad enough you guys are very, very kill happy, but it's just it felt so very alien, but that made it feel so fantastic. That made it feel like this is like thousands and thousands of years in the future. Yeah. On some planet somewhere. It felt like a real alien civilization. Yeah. It felt like it.
That's what made me that's actually what made me curious. After I saw that made me curious about what these other houses were.
Yeah, big time.
I was like, man, there's probably multiple other planets.
I really
I was like interested in these other great houses. Like who are they and what are their planets?
I was hoping we were gonna see a little bit more of it, like especially when towards the end when all the
start
showing up. I was hoping we were going to see like colors or something that would maybe give us an idea. But very curious about that too. So,
most definitely. Yeah, I agree.
I'm sure I can think of some other good things, but you got some negatives?
So the big one was, so I'm first going to say that this, I really enjoyed this movie. It was great.
Right.
I think I still like the first one better overall because this one just off the top of my head, I got a little slow in the middle. And a little dragged a little bit, and the thing was that the first movie adapted like 2/3 of the book, but it was only 2 hours and like I think 2 hours and 20 minutes, 2 hours and 30 minutes, something like that. This one was closer to 3 hours, 2 hours and 47 minutes, I think, and they adapted less of the book. It was like the last third of the book they adapted in a longer movie. Yeah, so it kind of seemed like they were padding it a little bit. Like it almost like it didn't need to be this long.
Yeah.
Because they're adapting a shorter part of the book. So there was like they did expand some things to make it longer for me.
Yeah.
And so the mid points were a little bit, so I was kind of getting a little taken out of it. And that's just kind of a nitpick, really.
Yeah.
But the big negative to me was, and I'm trying not to compare it to the books. I had finished the book, and the book is amazing.
That's okay. That's fair.
It's incredible. But the big change is the Chinese character was, it was not that I hated her kind of independence and her kind of doing her own thing and shying away from it. Not that it wasn't that I hated that, but it was just her, like, the way it was done in this one. It didn't seem as like direct, because what bugged me was that he was like, oh, I'll love you for as long as I'm breathing. And she's like, and she did the same thing. She's like, yeah, I don't care. I think she's like,
as long as you stay who you are.
Yeah, as long as you stay who you are. And then, so she was like, so it'll be okay if we went to the South. You know what I mean? Like, that basically is what it was. Like, we can go to the South and it's going to be fine. Like, because you're going to be who you are. I'm still going to love you and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then he does the thing. And then as soon as he wakes up, she's angry with him. Like, as soon as he wakes up, he slaps him, walks away, and then never really forgives him after that.
You're right.
So it's like, you encouraged him to come down here, and you told him that you'd always care for him.
Yeah.
And this is before he went on the rant, and before he kind of did the big change of character. Like, before that even happened, she was immediately angry with him for drinking the water of life.
Yeah.
And I was like, you just encouraged him. So now you're mad. Now I didn't want to pull the typical woman telling me to do something, and then I do it, and then you're mad. You know, I didn't want to play that card. But that's what it felt like. It was like, yeah, you told him it's okay, he did it, and then now it's not okay. So
now you're mad at him.
Yeah, now you're mad at him for doing what you told him to do. So so I was just like, I don't understand.
And he didn't take out the trash.
Yeah. Yeah.
Leave the toilet seat up.
Right, yeah. And then after that, she just continued to not support him at all.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, when he clearly does the power move, like to take her as the bride.
Yeah.
For the political marriage, right?
Yeah.
The reason why the book ended, so the book ends on such a nice note, right? Because there's a contrast with, not a contrast, but like a similarity with Jessica and Leto Atreides.
Yeah.
He never married her,
but
he was only with her the whole entire time. Like, he never took another lover, never was never physical to anybody else. Like, she was the main one the whole time. Even though she had the title of concubine, right? And so at the end of the Dune book, that this happens, like where he proposes the marriage to the princess, for the power, right, for the political marriage. But then after him and Chani have this moment where he talks to her, says, it's all political.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna touch her. I'm never ever gonna be anything with her. This is just for the throne. Yeah. And then she understands, and
she goes with him.
Yeah, she goes with him. And then the last line is the last scene of the book is Jessica talking to Chani, saying, the title of concubine is not the best thing, right? But with Leto, I knew how he felt about me forever. And at the end of this story, the history books are going to say the concubines are the ones that, or something like that, people are going to remember who we were, and not anybody else. And that was basically I'm butchering it. I'm butchering the last line, but that's basically the sentiment. That's the last line of the book. It's her saying that to her, saying that, like, we're going to be the ones that are remembered because X, Y, and Z. Because and there's a connection that they had, because through most of the book, Jessica doesn't like Chani because she's not like the status, like she's not the political person that can really help with the marriage. But she warms up to her, and by the end, they understand each other because they're going through the same thing now at this point.
Right, that's
cool. And that was such a beautiful ending.
That's very cool.
And I loved the end of the novel. As soon as I was like, oh, that's amazing. That's beautiful. And then that doesn't happen at all in the movie, so it kind of becomes more like disjointed and kind of a bit like they're adding tension versus wrapping it up. And I know there's gonna be another book, there's gonna be another movie, but they want to probably wrap it all up in. But it was very different. And not to say that I hated the way they did in the second Dune. But it was much nicer of an ending, and it made it seem like this book could be it. Like we wouldn't need another book after that. I think it can be a standalone thing.
Yeah.
But the way it seems like they clearly ended this movie with the expectation of another one.
Yeah,
Like,
they definitely did,
purposely versus trying to wrap it up nicely the way they did in this one.
Yeah.
And doing another one. Which I now that I'm sitting back and looking at it, I get like to make it so that you want to like lead into the next one a little bit better.
Yeah.
But it was very different. Like they're going on a different route now. So now, like you were saying, they're really changing things. And I don't know if detracting this much is the way to go.
It's going to be interesting to try to bring it back to the book, or try to you're going to be forcing it, bending it, to get it back in line with the book.
Exactly, to bring it back.
And if you don't do that, you're asking for trouble.
Exactly, yeah.
For a myriad of reasons. I mean,
especially with something like this, like something as celebrated as Dune.
Right.
And the first film, part 1, was a lot more faithful to the first part, or to the first like 2/3 of the book.
Okay.
The second one was much more different. In comparison. And again, I know we talked about it last week with Avatar, like changing things and making it your own. I get it. And I'm always cool with it. And this is a better example of that, like where I don't hate it. But just based on how beautifully it wraps up in the book.
Right. Would have been nice.
It would have been nice to kind of see that. And maybe they can do it in the third one. Maybe they're saving it for the third one to kind of have the Jessica and Chani kind of come together and understand each other better. Like that would be great. And I hope that's what they do.
They had like a small moment in that towards the end where she was packing up and Jessica was trying to talk to her.
Exactly.
Not quite the same, but
not quite the same, but exactly. And then the ending it was a little abrupt with the ending after that. I was like, I didn't know it was getting there. Because I wasn't aware of the working on a third movie until after I watched it. Did some research.
I just assumed that they clearly looked like that's what they were trying to set up.
So that's what I kind of felt. I was like, oh, okay. I see what you're trying to do. And there's just I know like this is kind of one more nitpick. This is the last thing I have.
That's cool.
But there was a moment when they're in the tent, when they're all in the tent like celebrating after one of the battles. And this kind of felt like an editing issue, like something had happened. You know how he gets the name, the Muad'Dib name? Somebody calls him Muad'Dib like before they give him the name Muad'Dib. So like I saw that. I was like, oh, this is in the book. I think this is when he comes up with Muad'Dib. And then like somebody calls him Muad'Dib. And I was like, oh, so I guess they already gave the name to him off screen. And then a little bit later, there's the scene where he gets the name Muad'Dib. And I was like,
interesting.
That's a weird. Either they were trying to hint at it, or somebody screwed up in the editing. Like they sequenced it incorrectly, or put the audio in there by accident of someone calling him Muad'Dib. And I was like, that didn't work. Something was off there. So it seemed like and that's really the only big editing issue I saw. I think, but it was noticeable, and so I just kind of added to like the things about the movie that made it not as great as the first one for me.
Got it.
I just kind of noticed it more. You know what I mean? So
So that Muad'Dib, because that's the desert mouse.
The desert mouse.
Is. Okay. There was that scene in the tent where that's where the name he comes up with. I mean, someone could make the argument that's just what they were calling him. But that's a bit of a stretch because we know he has like this, affinity, so to speak, from the first movie.
Right.
Because he was watching that video, he saw a little mouse in there, he thought, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, little mouse.
And and so that was that. Unless like you said, somebody called him that as a joke or whatever, and they said, hey, you know what was that thing you called me?
See, if they would have done that, then it would have made sense. But he asked Stilgard,
what's the name of the mouse?
What's the name of the mouse that hops? And he's like, Muad'Dib. He's like, I like that
Call
name.
me that.
But it's like somebody has just been calling you that. So it didn't make sense. If he would have been like, hey, what are they? Everyone's been calling me Muad'Dib. What does that mean? It's like desert mouse. Like, call me that.
I love it.
Right. Yeah.
Think I
that
care?
would have been better. But but something happened in the editing, I think.
And I feel like it doesn't matter, but I think I feel like I missed it because I just felt like there were all these different names that were popping up here and there, like the Moabite, and then the other, like whatever the Hadan Ali or Ali.
Lazan, yeah, Lazan. There are a lot of names
Yeah,
for
there are
it,
a lot.
because
Yeah,
that's
a lot of
one
very
name, but
foreign
then
names,
the Kwisatz Haderach is another name
exactly.
for the same thing.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of, so I get it. The only reason why I caught it is because I just read the book. I just read it, and that scene's a very important scene in the book.
Yeah.
So I knew it was coming, and that's the only reason why I knew.
Right,
if I didn't reid it, I probably wouldn't have caught it.
Just would have kept on trucking.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. One thing that I'll say in defense, when you're talking about Chani kind of getting angry with him, an argument that I might make is because she told him, like, as long as you stay who you are, then we're gonna be good, right?
Yeah.
And who he was at that point in time was someone that was not trying to be the Messiah, that was not trying to go that route. So when he does go to the South and he does drink the water of life, that kind of showed that he was going a different angle, that he was pursuing being the Moabite. Not that.
Yeah.
he was trying to be like the leader or whatever, that the prophet Messiah guy. So that's the argument. I mean, I mean, she could have maybe waited to let me see if you changed.
Yeah.
How's your personality changed? Are you are you that different?
Yeah.
But the argument that I might make is the fact that he went there and did all that in the first place. Just like that was a break of confidence or
that's fair. So. And I definitely 100% agree with is that could be that could be the thing.
Once you turn, right.
But it just if they would have tweaked a little bit more, just a little bit of a tweak, like for
a couple lines or something.
A couple lines for her to either not be so okay with, because he was like, I'm not going to the South because if I go, that's gonna happen and all this stuff's gonna come true, and I don't want to go down there. And she said, it's gonna be fine because I'm gonna love you for whatever it is. And so and so it was kind of like she was okay with him going there.
Yeah,
and when he actually did it, she was. So if there was like just a line or two or something in there, just a couple like minor tweaks, it would have made way more sense. Like I would be like, she wasn't okay with it at all. Or if she would have waited for him to become a little more arrogant, then she slapped him in the face and was like, yeah, you've changed. You know what I mean? But for him to wake up and still seem normal when he woke up, like he still seemed like himself.
Right.
When he saw her and he's like, oh, he's still the same guy at that point. And then she slaps him and then never forgives him after that.
Yeah.
So it was like, I was like, this maybe the timing, like if the scenes were arranged a little bit differently, just small tweaks would have made that a little bit stronger. But I do see what you're saying though. The argument can be made that is the case.
Yeah.
And I can agree with that.
As far as other negatives though, man, nothing really comes to mind. I feel like we kind of hit on most of them, but I mean, overall though, I mean, the movies, it looks fantastic. It does feel like, because I noticed when I start to become aware of time.
Oh yeah.
Like, what's what's happening right now? Why am I sitting here? What's going on? I'm starting. I'm like, okay, it does feel like it's starting to drag. And I've said before that in my opinion, there's no such thing as a long good movie. If it's a good movie, it's a good movie. And this is a good movie, but I will admit that there was a moment in there where I don't want to say I was squirming in my seat a little bit, but it was like, I feel like I've been sitting here for a while. Maybe it's just, I don't know, conditioning for movies nowadays, but there were some parts that lagged a little bit.
Yeah, got a little bit slow. And because I was in the theater myself. So that was like super easy for me to just pull my phone out for a second, or I'd go to the bathroom. Because I need to go to the bathroom maybe to shake off a little bit. And then I was like, if I had another hot dog, maybe I would be I'd be break it up a little bit. But there was like a moment where like all my food was done. Right. I was like, it was probably about an hour and a half into the movie. And then I was kind of like, oh, where are we at now? Like, where's this movie at now? And then I checked the watch and I was like, he's like, so I've been here for an hour and a half, so we're at least an hour and 20 left, give or take, of the movie. And I was like, man, when that thought starts happening, then it's like, it's dragging a bit.
Yeah, exactly. I think, it's not holding your attention like that. Not that every moment has to be like a flash and a boom. But
because like there wasn't like a ton of action in this movie. Like relatively, I think for the
once the action picked up again, then I was like, I'm back in right back in there. 100% focused.
But yeah, they did drug a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't think I felt that way in the first film at all. So
Right,
I watched it again. I watched them both the same day.
Same here.
And
Okay.
I was like, dude, this is just as good as I remember it being.
Yeah.
Yeah. But overall negatives. I don't have anything much to say.
Nothing real. Nothing's gonna be like, don't go watch this movie.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, because this is still the best movie I've seen this year. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the year just started, but like,
right. I'm sure we're not gonna find anything that's gonna be on this level. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
With this epic feel to it. Yeah.
And it's going to get an Oscar nomination.
Oh, really?
Best Picture. Do you think it?
Oh, do I think? Yeah. I think it deserves it.
Yeah.
But
Same here.
Will it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think it will.
Yeah.
I think it will.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it may not.
Yeah.
Like, will it? Yeah, we don't know. But I
think it has all the things that
it's got all the stuff you're supposed to have. I mean, not with today's Hollywood. It may not, but it definitely has all the stuff that a great movie is supposed to have. It's supposed to be. It's a great adaptation of a very popular and beloved book.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're able to take something like that and make it work.
Yeah.
I mean, you should get credit for that as well.
Yeah, hands down. Yeah, and I think 100%. I think it deserves it to be in there.
Yeah,
for something.
Right,
an Oscar. I mean, I'll take it in Best Picture, but whatever, Best Editing, Best Cinematography, whatever.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's
easily
true. Yeah,
one of those things.
Yeah.
But I'll take it in Best Picture because I think it's one of the best. I think even like if we're talking about a year, like the last 12 months, this is probably the best movie I think I've seen so far.
Yeah.
In the last year, if you're counting from 12 months ago.
Yeah.
Not in this year because it's only been a couple months.
Right.
Yeah.
But so far, now I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like whatever category this will get nominated in for Oscars, and I don't know when the Oscars are coming up, but I think it's coming up pretty soon. Actually, now that I think about it.
Oh, is it?
I think
for last year's or for this year's?
Yeah, I guess it's got to be for 2023.
Yeah, hasn't happened yet.
No,
I feel like I should. I feel like I was gonna say I feel like I should pay attention, but I don't.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
I don't care about.
I swear I want to say. I feel like I want to say it's coming up in March this month. It's not important.
Yeah.
It won't be nominated for anything like for the immediate Oscars,
for the next
it
one.
Should be nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah, most definitely.
Just depending on whatever comes out there. I mean, because I'm thinking about like even with Lord of the Rings and all that kind of stuff, like. All three of those movies were nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
the Return of the King was the one that won.
Oh,
and I feel like a lot of people kind of feel like it was like because of the accumulated effort of all of it, Yeah. So I feel like you can maybe make the argument for this one as well. So I'm as of right now, I am pulling for it to. You know what? I'm going to say it. Best Picture of the year.
Yeah,
I'm going to put it out there
until
I see something else and change my mind. So so there's that.
Yeah. So we're looking at Rotten Tomatoes, right?
Yeah.
You saw the scores already?
Yeah, they're like 94, 95.
Oh, yeah, 94 critics, 95 audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. All around pretty high.
Yeah.
I know it's only been out for a couple days now at this point,
right.
but I mean, I can't imagine it dropping much because it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
so,
it is very good.
Yeah. So if we're going off of a percentage, I'm right there, 94%. That's good, 93, 94%. I think it's a really, and I don't even remember what I rated the last one.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll give.
Were we even doing ratings like that back then? I think we were just doing.
Oh, we weren't. Yeah. Maybe we weren't, or did we do percentages?
We might have been doing percentages, maybe.
But I gotta go back and listen to it now.
Yeah.
But maybe you guys should too.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I was gonna say like the first Dune for me is probably 95 or 96. This one's probably a 93 or 92.
Okay.
It's I like the first one a little bit better, but still a phenomenal movie. Like, I can't really say much about it. Yeah, and if we're doing an R rating, drop what you're doing.
Drop what you're doing.
Easily.
Yeah, definitely.
Drop what you're doing.
Yeah,
Square.
Go watch it. Yeah,
To the second power.
Yeah, don't let it leave the theater without you having seen it.
Most definitely. Yeah.
Watch the first one on Max, whatever you want to watch it on, and then go watch it in the theater. And I do not remember what my score was from there, but yeah, I might go like 95, 96 for each one. Like which one is the higher one? It's hard to say because one thing for me is I love world building kind of thing. And they did that great in the first one, and we got to see more of it in the second one too.
Yeah, true.
So I love that. And it's the future. But like when you look at the rooms they're in, the rooms are very basic. They're very plain. There's no giant monitor. There's you know what I mean. There's no like crazy sci-fi looking stuff going on. They're living like almost very Spartan lifestyles.
Yeah, true.
You know, there's
very
a
true.
bed and there's the door.
Yeah.
So that's your room. Welcome to the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that. I like the cultures that we got a taste of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to say. I might go like 96 for the first, 95 for this one.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah,
but
both really good.
yeah, there are some fantastic scenes, especially like I said, when Paul, you know, kind of comes into his own in the end, and he's like, he just embraces it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, that Timothée Chalamet kid, man, he's I for a while I was kind of annoyed. I was like, why is the kid getting so much of everything?
Yeah.
And then now I'm like, all right.
No, yeah.
I see what you guys also.
All right, he's all right. He's all right.
Yeah,
and I loved his development and all that throughout this, where he was very hesitant to be the Messiah. He just wanted to be one of them. You know, it was great. I mean, I love Jessica. I would have loved to have seen more of her like delving into the dark side and stuff. I would have loved to have seen more of that, but you know, it's okay that they didn't. But yeah. But anyways, great movie
for sure.
Great movie.
Great movie. Yeah, as we recommend it. This is one of the. I mean, Mark had been agreeing more so these days than we were at the beginning of the podcast. Sometimes. But this one, I think.
No, we haven't.
I think this was one of the ones we're gonna be on the same page with. This one is just there's hard to argue with this movie. Like I imagine most people are gonna enjoy it. Most of the other review channels are probably gonna give it a high review.
Right.
And
the thing, it's not hype. I mean, like I said, like we were saying, like just the scale of the movie, it's fantastic. It feels like you're on this epic adventure. You know?
Imagine I think maybe because like with Lord of the Rings, I just watched all the movies again recently, and they're still epic, man.
Yeah.
So if I'm sure, you know, 10, 15 years from now, when this trilogy's all wrapped up, I imagine I'm gonna feel similar to Dune. Like I'm gonna be like, that's gonna be my Lord of the Rings now. Like,
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, there should be a movie like that for another generation of people. You know,
exactly.
Without having to look back at anything, there should be something new for people.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you're younger and you can, you know, if you're, I don't say if you're smart enough, but if you're smart enough to be able to watch this and appreciate this, that's even better. So
I think I was even because I think maybe I might have been like, I don't know, 9 or 10 when Fellowship came out. And I've seen all of them in the theaters. I went to go watch all of them.
Yeah.
And even when I was that young, I loved them, man. Right. I loved them, and I still love them now. So I think this could be that, you know, for the next generation. I'm still gonna be for me as well. But maybe there's a you know 15-year-old or 16-year-old now.
Or a 9-year-old, right?
It's seeing like, oh, this is my favorite thing ever. You know, So no, definitely check it out. Read the book. I think I'm gonna read the next one at some point. Probably closer to when the movie comes out, but
do all the stuff, guys.
Do all of it. Yeah. Cool. That's gonna be our talk on Dune.
That's it, baby.
Anything we're gonna do this week?
No.
I have a hot take. Hot take. I watched the Star Wars prequels again because I was interested in checking them out.
Okay, cool.
I hadn't seen them. It's been a long time.
I don't think I've seen them like in a while.
Because I've been watching a lot of Star Wars Theory, the YouTuber. He's great YouTuber. I think he's great, man. His content's awesome. He seems like a cool dude. A lot of people have issues with him, I guess, because of he's about Star Wars, but you know, whatever. So he's a big fan of the prequels. He voices it. Yeah, he loves it. I think he has a shirt like on his merch store that says "I love the prequels" or something like that.
Wow.
But he also has a great hat that says like Order 66, but like in the Route 66 logo.
Oh,
yeah. I was like, I want one of those. That's pretty cool. Nice. But he's a big fan of it. So I went back and watched them, and I actually. So for Phantom Menace, not amazing, but I didn't hate it the second time around watching it. This time. Attack of the Clones is a piece of shit. That movie sucks. Like watching that one again, that's a bad movie. Yeah, that movie's horrible. Revenge of the Sith or Return of the Sith, Revenge of the Sith, right?
Revenge of the Sith.
Good-ish. Like it's okay. Like those like Phantom Menace and Return of the Sith, they get the job done. I don't love them. They're not better than the originals. But I was a little more okay this time around watching those two. Yeah. Attack of the Clones, piece of shit. I will continue to say that. But like you see like the lightsaber battles are phenomenal. Some of the like Qui-Gon Jinn, man, I love Mace Windu. Yeah. Still one of my favorite Jedi to this day. And seeing like all those characters I was like, okay, I enjoy parts of this. Like there are parts of this that I don't hate as much as I used to.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's me like growth or me getting, maybe I'm getting dumber. Maybe I'm devolving. But there were some things about them that I liked more than I remember liking.
Right on.
So that's it might be a hot take if you guys think I'm crazy.
Check it out again.
Yeah, check it out again. Yeah. Let me know if I'm crazy.
Yeah, I'd be willing to watch those again. I haven't watched them beginning to end in quite some time.
Yeah,
catching bits and pieces here and there. Yeah, but I remember how I felt about some of them. So maybe I need to do the same thing because some of those, and I have no animosity or hatred towards Hayden Christensen. You know what I mean? I think everybody loves him, especially as time has gone by, and that's kind of the way things work. You know what I mean? As time progresses, you kind of look back on certain things and you have a little bit more of a sympathetic or an understanding eye to it. So I've got no issue with him whatsoever. But I remember in the moment though, some of those movies were like, why don't you stop? Yeah, not him, but just like in general.
Yeah, these movies need to stop.
Yeah.
But no, I do have a lot of respect for him, especially now. And he's been so gracious about it too.
Yeah,
he doesn't have any animosity about it. I know he's got a lot of flack, I imagine, over the years. But and he does all of his own lightsaber stunts. They did all of them, all the fight sequences. He did all of them. So I was like, okay, cool.
Right.
That's
very cool.
But I guess that's it, huh?
That's it. That's it.
Next year. Sorry, I just foreshadowed. Next week, we are discussing our 3-year anniversary.
Oh yes, that's
Did you forget? Like, it's been 3 years already. Yeah, but next year,
I knew it was coming up. But
technically, I mean, if we're being honest with you guys, tomorrow, as of this recording, the 3rd is our 3-year anniversary.
You can still send gifts.
But we didn't want to skip Dune. We really wanted to cover Dune first. So next week we're going to be doing an episode about our 3-year anniversary. We're going to discuss that a little bit. Maybe shoot the shit and look back on our past. We're gonna do that next week. So if you guys want to join, party with us, send some money or something to commemorate us entertaining you for the last 3 years.
Right.
You are welcome. I can't believe we made it here, but also I can believe it because we are some BAMFs. Wait, is that right? Badass. Yeah. I was trying to think of Samuel L. Jackson's wallet in the.
I was like, BAMF?
Yeah.
Is that like a. Was that Nightcrawler teleporting? What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's what it says. Like whenever he teleports, it's just
All right, you got to be a nerd to know that.
Yeah. Anyway, so join us for our 3-year anniversary.
Yeah, man.
But honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you guys for sticking with us for this long.
Appreciate you.
If you're newer, thank you.
Hey, we appreciate you too.
Yeah, but if you've been with us since the beginning or somewhere along the lines, we appreciate you as well.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more than the others.
We love everybody. We love all of our fans. Don't listen to this guy.
Yeah. That's true. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. You didn't know
you just now getting being enlightened.
Exactly.
Or something.
Learning, I don't know. From us. But
Anyways.
That's gonna be it. So thank you guys so much as always from all of us here at the Geek Off The Street podcast. My name is Trent.
And my name is Mark.
And this has been
Geek Off The Street.
I was still thinking about your wind bullets from last week. That's how you been wind?